Greetings. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is Movie Night. It's hard to argue with the fact that we live in really bizarre times. In fact, kind of ridiculous times. Pretty stupid times. A look at the daily headlines makes you want to shake your head if you have anything above a 100 IQ and are capable of rational thought. But the United States and the world has been here before, just in a different way. The 1970s were a time of a great deal of upheaval, insanity, and an unsure future that seemed to be so dystopian we took it for granted. Sounds familiar? You know, back in the day when airplanes were initially hijacked, the government thought it was only the problem of the airlines that they had to deal with it? Kind of hard to believe that now. The Vietnam War was coming to an end in 1975. Richard Nixon had resigned. It was a real mess. There didn't seem to be much of a future. Everything was violence. Everything was about, well, dystopianism is the word to use. And that was reflected in the movies of the time. Disaster movies were the thing that people used to go to the theater and watch during the summers. Very often the heroes would be killed. Yes, being good means you're going to die at the end of the day. It was terrible. But there was one very creative movie that took this genre on and flipped it on its head and showed ridiculousness for what it was really all about. And it resulted in a cult classic which, for some strange reason, they tried to reinvent some years ago and didn't seem to do very well. It was a movie about, well, a road race. And no, it's not Smokey and the Bandit. That's another type of road race. This was one that took a Buddhist monk and turned him, quite literally, into Frankenstein. I speak, of course, of Death Race 2000, starring David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone before he became world famous as Rocky. Now, this is not a movie for the kids. It's graphic, it's gross, and it's very rude and impolite, and violence is the basis of it. It's a story about a road race that starts in New York and ends in Los Angeles, across the United States. And the people who drive these cars win with a combination of a fast time and how many pedestrians they can run over and kill along the way. That's right. If you kill an old person, you get 100 points. If you kill a baby, you get 70. And various other types of people that you run down with your very, very strangely designed roadster. That's the theme of the movie. And it reflects all the contradiction and stupidity of the time. Now, the movie stars David Carradine just after he got finished playing Kane on the TV show Kung Fu, the wonderful superhero who came from China to travel throughout the Old West and right wrongs and use his wonderful martial arts ability to bring justice to frontier America. Well, he didn't want to be typecast, so he decided to get into this thing, and boy, was this a change of character. He plays the part of Frankenstein, a rather, well, we're told, messed up individual who is one of the most decorated roadsters around, who is better at running down people and shifting his gear on his car faster than anyone. He goes from being a superhero to a supervillain, although he's sort of an anti-villain in this movie. Of course, you have him racing against other people, including some woman named something the Hun. I forget exactly offhand. But she has swastikas everywhere, and all of her fans love waving black, white, and red swastika flags. Talk about offensive. You wouldn't see that on TV these days, let alone in movies. And then, of course, there's Sylvester Stallone, who plays a character called Machine Gun Joe, who was another contender for the trophy. And he has a car that is decorated with Thompson submachine guns and a very large dagger that sticks out, and you can imagine what that's used for. No, this is about as dystopian and bizarre a movie as you can get. Peter Fonda, who became very famous in Easy Rider and was known for being a bit of a counterculture king at the time, turned down the movie because he thought the script was just too ridiculous. Well, it is. It's very ridiculous, very unbelievable. In the future, at that time, in the year 2000, the United States is run by a president who lives overseas in Beijing, China, and for some reason we are at war with France. I can never figure that out, but that's the way it is. And there's this race that is used to entertain America, and, well, I'll leave it at that. It's pretty strange, pretty unbelievable, and just a lot of very escapist dark fun. But what it does is it plays on how ridiculous things were back then, and in a way, how ridiculous things became. It has, of course, TV commentators with all the appeal of, well, TV commentators. It's a very strange movie. It's only about an hour and a half long, but it's escapist fun for adults. There's, of course, the sexual side of it, which was very big in the 70s as well. But it's interesting to see the breakout role of David Carradine post-Kane in Kung Fu, and Sylvester Stallone before he actually had the choice of the movie he would be in every so often. I'm sure if you walked up to him today and you told him that your favorite movie that he was in was Death Race 2000, he'd probably throw a punch at you. He also has a very interesting line in here which should be forever attributed to him, "Don't be a baked potato," which was a form of insult. It was made for about $500,000 or less, depending on the source you go to, and it made about $14 million at the box office, which was an enormous sum at the time. Anyways, it's a fun movie to watch if you're in a dark mood, and these days, who isn't? It's good to see David Carradine, long before he had a very strange end, making a movie in Thailand, and I'll let you research that on your own, and Sylvester Stallone before he was running up the steps in Philadelphia. Worth watching, if anything, to remind yourself of exactly how strange things can get in this world and how, eventually, they stop being strange. Again, the movie is Death Race 2000, starring David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone, directed by Paul Bartel, produced by the legendary Roger Corman. It came out in 1975 by New World Pictures. You can find it around for free because, well, I don't think they care about it anymore, but it's probably available in the usual locations for a small fee or for ads. Please do not confuse it with the later remakes, which are never as good as the original, or as dark, or as much fun. They don't make them like this anymore, and there's good reason for it. That's it for today. If you appreciate my work, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with your friends, and share with your enemies, even if they aren't into violent movies. I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm up on X. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. This podcast originates at Substack. My handle there is aureliancolumn.substack.com. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, don't forget the popcorn, and always watch the credits until they stop rolling. Good day.